And hello, good evening, and welcome to your early weekend podcast here on Four Lads Had a Dream. My name's Andrew, and it's a pleasure to be back, joined by two of my very favourite podders, Andrew and Calvin. Boys, I know people are probably tuning in hoping that we've got news. We keep yelling at Stevie. He's telling us nothing. We've all received those same WhatsApps, right? There's definitely going to be an announcement tomorrow. First thing, we don't know. Is the honest truth. As soon as we do hear anything, we'll let you know. Stay following, stay subscribed, and we'll get you updated. But until we know something, Andrew, it's wait and see.
I think the record for being asked my availability for podding at the weekend has been breached 4 or 5 times. Luckily, I have the weekend off from anything, so I'll be ready as soon as the tweet comes through or the whatever fancy highbrow announcement video we're going to put out for whatever we're going to announce. Because it's been one of many rumours. It could be the 49ers takeover complete. Could be David Ancelotti confirmed. It could be another 8-year extension on a Castore deal. Who the fuck knows? It could be anything with Rangers, but whatever it is, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that's where pretty much everyone's at, Calvin. We're just waiting for the news. I don't think there's any doubt that the takeover's happening. It's happening now, right? The other question is who's the manager going to be? We've had news that Steven Gerrard is probably out of the running, but who knows? And definitely looks like David Ancelotti is going to be the man. But again, we don't know anything. This is not four lads are saying this is the thing. This is not me saying this is the thing. I'm just looking at the same news that everyone else is. But we're at the point where we just want this done now, right?
Massively, especially when people start making up fake videos of Russell Martin turning up at Glasgow Airport. Like, that scared me a wee bit. I've seen it and I was like, nearly hooked me in, but I was like, nah, that's no Glasgow. It's too nice. So we just need to watch out for it. There's going to be so much stuff comes out the next couple of days. We hope it's the stuff that we want to see, and let's hope it's a good surprise and not a bad surprise. That's probably where I'm at with it. I've seen that many names linked in the past 24 hours. Every time you open your phone, a new name pops up. We had one 20 minutes ago, and there'll probably another one in the next 20 minutes pops up. So let's just wait and see. Ride out. We know we're getting some good news coming soon, and let's just hope it comes sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, I think we set a new record today. The Herald tweeting and then deleting a tweet about a new manager linked with us. So that's pretty impressive. That happened in the 10 minutes it was taking me to get set up for the pod today. So I'm impressed with that. That's added and then removed from the agenda. So that was, I mean, everyone at this point is just throwing out names, throwing out potential stories, and it's always like very carefully couched, Andrew, like, oh, well, we understand this guy's in discussions and, this might be happening. No one, I think, knows anything from what Stevie's telling us, from what guys like David Edgar are saying. Rangers are keeping this extremely close to the chest, and it's going to be easy enough for them to do because it's a whole new bunch of people. The folk who are involved in making this decision aren't the people who the media have been used to dealing with. So it's interesting. It keeps it refreshing. It just means it's intensely frustrating for all of us.
Yeah, I think it's a positive in the way that, it's not what we usually do and somebody has a scoop on it and it's looked about, 8 weeks too early. I'm actually happy. It kind of shows, maybe how this is going to go, where we're going to have a kind of well-run room of guys who will keep a tight-lipped, stay tight-lipped in these big decisions if and when they come. If this is a snapshot into that for down the line, then by all means, we might be starting to look positive. But I'm putting this is a positive place hat on for that one. Taking that hat off. Can we hurry up, please? I put this USA top on the last pod I did, and that was 2 weeks ago, because I was like, oh, it's almost done, and we're still here. So, sooner the better, but there is an air of positivity about the professional handling of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's manifesting, mate. We're just we're trying to make these things happen. Like you say, I mean, it's us. We're doing a podcast. We're doing it live. Thank you to the 2,500 people who have tuned in as well for this. Incredible support, as always. I always say it, but it never stops being true. But it's going to be our luck. The second we go off the air, something's going to happen. So that's what we're doing here. We're doing a service for you guys who are watching. We are making this happening for you. Calvin, I think the interesting bit of news was that it very much looks like Steven Gerrard is out the race, and it will be David Ancelotti. Again, that's just what the media, the newspapers are saying, but certainly it very much looks like it's his job to lose at this point.
Yeah, I think last week everybody kind of jumped on the Gerrard train a wee bit, including pretty much everybody in our chat, because just the way it looked, like it was flying through rumours of him being up in Glasgow. Everybody had a little bit of chat. But it looked like a bit of a smokescreen, especially with the news that Ancelotti wasn't going to be joining his dad over in Brazil. And for me, I think that was probably one of the big turning points. Like, if you're coming to take over Rangers, you can't be disappearing into international breaks 2 weeks at a time to be a coach, assistant manager. No matter how high that level is, your focus has to be solely on Rangers. Because we know when we shut down for any period, that's when the pressure gets going. There's always a next big match coming up in the next few days. So him disappearing to Brazil was probably something that made things a bit dubious for them to take on the job. With that out, much better position for me anyway.
Yeah, and we're in that point where it's all rumours, it's all hearsay, but he absolutely looks like the guy who's in the frame now. There was a story today about, how they were keen for conclusions to be reached, and if there isn't a decision reached in the next week or so, then David, obviously, because he's highly rated and much in demand, everywhere will be off, and it was fairly transparent that came directly from his camp. I think he was just missing the David A at the bottom of it. But Andrew, it's exciting, right? I mean, we're in that. We've got 53 days until our first Champions League qualifier now. Less than a month until the boys are all back. Whoever is left in the squad is back for the preseason. So we're getting to the point where it would be very good to have a decision made, just so that we can see this preseason start to take shape and see who's staying, who's going, what's going to be happening.
I mean, yeah, I think you go back a wee bit before the end of the season, you were getting a couple of names, signing names, kind of from Rangers are linked with such and such and such. And Matinho was the one that springs to mind, the midfielder. And that's gone very quiet, obviously, as the season finished and the takeover top ramped up. I'm wondering if you're going to get the takeover completion, the manager announced, and then you're going to start to hear more and more about such and such is coming in. There's deal agreed in principle and so on. All the buzzwords you get with Fabrizio Romano. But I think we're really starting to see the wheels turning, because as you said, those days are going to fly, and we have obviously announced the pre-season schedule. It's only a matter of time until we've ticked off the takeover, ticked off the new manager, and then you've already had the exit of players out of contract. Who's the players coming in to replace them? And I think that'll keep us busy for the next couple of weeks as we sign Luka Modric, Vinicius on loan with a deal, an option to buy. He'll get injured, obviously, but we'll start to see these deals fall into place.
Yeah, and it's worth noting those two friendly confirmations at Ibrox against Club Brugge, July 6th, and then against Middlesbrough, July 26th. So like you say, it's starting to take shape now. We're starting to see things. I'm now on the last banner, thanking all of the new members that we have who have joined us. That's now updated, Stevie, so that we've got everyone on there. That's taken us nearly 10 minutes to thank everyone, and we're still not done yet, who has joined up as a member. I said it earlier, but we cannot thank you guys enough. The contribution and support that you guys have shown us, honestly, for the sake of being able to use little stickers, it is phenomenal. We do have, exclusive members only interviews. We do have documentaries that you'll get the first release of, you'll get the first run of. But let's be real, you're doing this because you want the sticker of Andrew. You want the sticker of Calvin. Look at it. Look at that handsome man. Isn't that amazing? You want the little Stevie as well. You're the tiny little Stevie with a thumb. And you can have some me as well, if you really want. But we again, in all seriousness, we cannot thank you guys enough. Your support has meant so much to us. And speaking of your support, let's have a dive into the comments and see what we've got here. I can see Craig Gallagher using the stickers. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Let's have a little look through and see what folk are talking about it. Is it mostly people just going, lads, can we get this done yet? Yes, Paul Sturrock, almost immediately. Come on, let's get it done. And I think we are there now. Gary, thank you. Shout out. We'd love to see it. Yeah, as Davey's saying there, Calvin, we're just waiting for the announcement now. We've all had a WhatsApp. We've all had a message forwarding multiple times. There's definitely something happening tomorrow. So we don't know anything. Again, I want to emphasize that. Stevie's not telling us a thing. I don't think he really knows anything either. We're just all waiting on Chris Jack to tweet out something and let us know what's happening.
Yeah, just look at that, isn't it? We're all starting to just get itchy feet now because everybody's getting that bit scared, ain't they? They just want to go over. We're sick of that WhatsApp message that it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow. I think we've all got a friend that's telling us tomorrow in 3 hours, lunchtime, daytime. Yeah. Or it might be after bedtime, but you might be waking up. You'll get your announcement. Just give us the news. That's pretty much where we're all at.
We have to be, man. It's all we can do. It's pre-season. Well, it's not even pre-season yet. It's that strange in-between period where we don't have any football going on to distract us. So we're literally just here waiting for the news. It'd be one thing if, Andrew, we had this squad that we were all excited about and, which players could we slot in where? And, no one's excited about a single player in this squad, really. I think the most exciting thing is we could maybe sell this guy for some money. So it is very much, let's get this takeover done. Let's get the manager in and let's start seeing some movement on the transfer front as well, because we know that we're going to need some transfers for this squad going forward.
Just interesting to see what David Ancelotti's opinion on Rabbi Matondo will be when he comes back for pre-season training. I don't know what you're on about, saying there's no players in this team that you're excited about. You've forgotten who I am. But all jokes aside, I think there's got to be that period of time where Ancelotti will have to go through, watch some games. If he has an eye on it, and it is further along than we expected to be. Already have been doing some of that stuff. You all remember the famous Clement on the plane watching the clips, but that went so swimmingly. He's going to need to make his mind up on players who he likes. Again, with the amount of time we've got until the first kind of game, he's going to have to make his mind up quick, which will be watching prior footage and then when they come back for pre-season, actually seeing them in person, because as we know, YouTube highlights can be very deceiving, but we don't get to see what these players are like on the training pitch. We don't get to see how they interact as a group, individually. Even I think Ancelotti was kind of being bigged up for his individual management of players as well as a group. So interesting to see what his take on the players is. I think we all, as we have, anyone listening will have seen during the season on live shows, and why we stopped doing live shows at the times, because it was very difficult to be positive with some comments. It's just going to take some time to. You'll have a long list of individuals and who are here, how long the contracts are. Some of them will be bad. Someone will need to break the news that Cortez contract and deal is, it's a obligation. So he's going to have to deal with that one on the chin quite early doors. But I think once he gets the ball rolling, he'll be spot on.
Yeah, for sure. Like we said, there's a lot of turnover that needs to take place. Paul asks from the comments there, what do I think the reason for the manager hold-up is? Honestly, I think a lot of this is the new cycle we live in now. We're used to the decision's been made, we'll just go out and do it straight away. And I think, unfortunately, these things are going to take time. And especially for a decision like this, where it's us. How often, in the past, just to say the last 5 years. So we rushed into picking a new manager, maybe rushing it, maybe not giving it the consideration that it probably should have had. I think, to be honest, the longer it takes, I get that it's frustrating, believe me. But I don't see a problem inherently with it taking time to come to the decision because I want it to be done properly. The biggest frustration is obviously we just want to be there now. Like we're everyone's sick of the waiting. So I don't think it's honestly going to be that long in retrospect. I think, Calvin, it's just this situation where we are just desperate for news and we just want to see something happening.
Yeah, and I think just when you think of that question, there'll be a certain process that they'll probably want to announce it, and you want to have the takeover announced. For me, that's what I think you'd be looking for first. You'd be wanting your takeover announced, so that steadies your ship. You know what you're walking into. The manager would then fall into that position with his management team, and then you'd start to hear about players. That would be the process you'd be expected, and that would be when it makes sense. Players could then know who their managers are going to be, and it lets you assess who's there, who the manager doesn't fancy, who he's going to try and get rid of, what swap deals can he get out, can he get players out on loan, can he get transfer fees for players. That's what we're looking at. So it might be it takes a little bit of time, but I'd imagine once the first announcement gets made, it's going to be quite a quick timeline after that.
Yes, and as Bluebells are blue, very big friend of the show. Yeah, we're 7 weeks away from those Champions League qualifiers, Andrew. We want stuff happening. I saw a few guys in the comments as well talking about Ferrelli, the former Ajax manager. It's already been rumoured and then shot down immediately. Like it was an outstanding bit. I think the only solid names that we can truly say have been linked to this process have been Russell Martin, Gerrard, and obviously David Ancelotti. And certainly from what we're seeing at the moment, Ancelotti absolutely looks like the guy who is most favoured, I would say. It's it's been this frustration thing, as Rangers News in the comments says. It's just a case of being professional, not rushing into a decision, and making sure that something positive happens. Because Andrew, it's going to be. I mean, it's been the case every single season for the past few seasons. But this season right here, this is a must, like, get it right. Very important season for us,
Oh, definitely. I think, we're all fed up of them lifting trophies. In the most recent case, we weren't even in the final to get beat by Aberdeen. So, it's embarrassing. And we want that to stop. We want a manager that understands that's unacceptable to go trophyless in the season, and we want to contend in the league. We don't want it to be done by October, unless obviously it's Celtic get out of the race by October. Then by all means, let's have it that way. But we want a manager that echoes our want for success. We want an ownership group that is happy to be on the cutting edge of football nowadays, because we have been far behind in terms of modernising the club to the way that clubs are run nowadays, in terms of looking for playing staff and appointing non-playing staff that fit our mould. First of all, we need to find that mould, and I think we have been doing that recently with the appointments and the directors and so on. But again, this is going to be boxes ticked as we get through the key points in the post-season, heading into the pre-season, and then heading through our first year, our first season with the new manager. The summer window will be interesting. As I said, it's gone quiet in terms of players linked. Obviously, we know live cameras coming in, which is a good start. I think if we can get, some other youngsters that we've seen that are up and coming, I think that Igaman signing is stunning. I think we're really going to reap the rewards of signings like that. Even Jeffy, we've seen these negative points in the season. He's had some bad games, but for the amount of money you paid for him, give him another year to play European football, to hopefully be playing in a better performing Rangers team, and that transfer stock will go up, and then you've made, if you were to sell him one, make a big profit. That's just the cycle that we need to start getting into in terms of incomings, getting in the game time and good solid teams, and then selling them on. And I think that's exactly what the 49ers are planning, this kind of smart football businessmen, because we've had football men, we've had businessmen, we need football businessmen, the guys who have a finger in the pulse of both sides. I think that's what we're getting now, so hurry up. I can't simplify it anymore.
Yeah, that's where we're at. Calvin, we're just waiting for that news. It's exciting stuff, right? I mean, I think at the most we've got to take it as a positive. We're not sitting here as we were last season with a squad of players who we weren't enthusiastic about and a manager who we weren't enthusiastic about either. I mean, we were sitting looking at Phil Clement going, I'm not really sure he's the guy. And unfortunately, that got proved right as we went into the season. So at the very least, it's going to be exciting to see this change coming up.
It's massively exciting because if it is who we think it is, if it is Davide, he's got connections. He knows different parts around Europe, good academies that he's worked in. He's in that academy because it reminds me of Michael Beale a little bit. But when you think about the players that can come out of that situation, like he knows the Real Madrid system, he'll know players that they've scouted that maybe weren't quite able to go into Real Madrid at any level, but they could work in Scotland. We want exciting players, and I think he'll be very good at finding exciting players. And you never know, he might have a couple of experienced heads up his sleeve that could come in the door. We'd all love Luka Modric, wouldn't we?
I think we'd take him, yeah. I mean, he's going to work hard to displace Nico Raskin. I mean, he's okay, I guess.
Could be a good combo.
Reluctantly. Yeah, I mean, play them together. Why not, right? I mean, then you've got to, deal with Dio in there as well. It's tricky. Would you take him, Andrew?
You'd have to deal with Ali telling you every game he's doing for Rangers that he almost signed them when he was the Rangers manager. That's your only downside of getting Luka Modric in, is Ali will tell you the same story at consecutive games, week in, week out. But if that's the price for Luka to be in red, white, and blue for us, that would be sensational. But as I think the line under it in the BBC article said, obviously this is not financially realistic, and you go, oh, really?
What do you mean?
That's a shame.
What do you mean?
William Malaga
I thought we were doing that
every day.
I know, man.
That can't happen.
I was just on the Rangers website as well. I had Modric in the back of the jersey, and I read another line. And I went, close the tab. Game over. Call that a day.
Useless.
Yeah. I think, as Calvin said, it's not even just taking the Modric conversation into effect. You might not get a look at Modric, but if you've got a Croatian player, young, coming up through the ranks, Modric will have people in Croatia and the national team that he's worked with for the last 10 years. He's played internationally, where he can maybe go, Ancelotti, he's a great coach. He'll be bigging us up in those areas where we'll be looking. You're going to have professionals that have played at really good levels that will vouch for the man that we're getting in charge, and that certainly makes negotiations easier when a player wants to work under the manager's project. Yeah. Similar to, Gerrard comes in, Aribo wants to sign for Rangers because Steven Gerrard kind of goes and he likes Gerrard, he likes the project he's preaching. You're going to have that same similar effect because you've got these, by all accounts, Real Madrid players saying, great guy to work under, and that will go far for us, I think.
I think that's massive in terms of transfers. Like, it's a name, a person with reputation that players want to play for. They want to come and experience what he's got. His management side's been picked out when he was the Everton assistant, when he's been at Real Madrid. This is getting picked up a lot on by professionals that are at the top of the game. So people coming up will be going, I want to play for him. He's going to make me a better player. And in return, they come to Rangers and we'll make them a better player as well. And we'll get the reputation out there. We need to get this transfer model underway. We need to get experienced heads that are going to make us a winning team, but we need to get the youths that are going to develop into the players that make us money. And that's what's massive. We've never had that really good mix of players. It's always been up-and-coming players that don't have that person that can grind them through, or we've had the players that are winding down. We need to have that much better balance in this next run, and I think that's massive for me.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting to see when we get to it, Calvin, who does end up staying from the squad and who ends up going, because there's certainly assets that you could sell within that squad. Not that we probably speak highly of them at the moment. It's still a bit raw, but Rabbi Matondo, we might reluctantly have to let him go. Andrew, we did see obviously the Nigerian nightmare getting himself another goal as well. So we're seeing we've got some players who we can start looking at moving on, and as Calvin says, hopefully that starts setting us up for for a good base going forward into the next season.
I think just even I'm thinking back to some of the early things when Ancelotti came out, listening to what people say about him, and I listened to he was talking about Dominic Calvert-Lewin when he was at Everton, and the discussions about how they make him a better player, and just what he does well, and how they look to just improve him as he was going through, Everton in a Premier League club. I think that's the thing, is it's a Premier League level club. He's been working with players the likes of Benzema's, even just like Camavinga's young midfielders and so on. It's a different level. Obviously, he's maybe taking a step back in quality. I love Rangers to bits, but if we delight ourselves if the team that we have at the moment is anywhere near lacing the boots of some of the Real players. But it's just seeing how he takes these individuals into his style of play and what he can do to then make them better. I think working on their confidence, just try to be, just at that man management, taking them aside and just giving them this new lease of life to some of these players who you might want to keep, because it's been a tough season. We're going to have a whole conversation over the summer about your captain. At the moment, does he stay? Does he go? And then what conversation do you have with Tavernier if he does stay? Because again, the calls have been loud for him to move on. It's another manager he's ticked off, but it's those lease of life conversations, as well as the how can I get more out of you, to you've just come in the door, let's make an instant impact. These conversations will be key when you're going through the early stages of pre-season to a European qualifier, back to another pre-season game, to another the second leg of a European qualifier. Then you've got another round after that, potentially a playoff round after that. You've got to decide, how far are we going in this? Obviously, we want to go through into the Champions League proper, but you've got a playoff round against some tough opponents. I think we've all looked at the coefficient and where we probably seed or not aren't seeded, but who the teams that we could face are. Those are going to be some interesting ties for him to try and set up a team for and navigate.
Yeah, Calvin, I mean, that first match is going to be crucial, because if we win that first match, then we know we've got, that first tie rather, then we know we have that European football guaranteed through to at least December. We've got that group stage football, even if it's down at the Conference League, which I'm relatively relaxed about. If we end up in the Conference League, then we might stand a really good chance of winning the thing. So I'm kind of relaxed about that.
Yeah, we've got a good history in Europe, bar that one Champions League campaign, but that was just, we jumped in we weren't ready for that level. Like the players that we had, it was a major transition. We weren't ready for it.
James Sands up against Liverpool in their pomp.
But
yeah, you can see the situation.
It was James Sands and Leon King. It was youngster and guy wasn't really a centre half, and all experienced players kind of bowed out with injuries at that stage. And if you forget about it, it was Liverpool were pretty much won the league, Champions League. Napoli won Serie A. Ajax won the Eredivisie. Like, people are going to that thinking, we've got a chance here. Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, it was a tough one to sit and experience.
Arfield's fault for scoring inside the first 5 minutes against Liverpool. He got the hopes up.
And then he ended up millions of players.
I ended up almost in the row in front of me, daring to dream before the next 7 went in, and you go, oh, this is turned in 84 minutes or something like that. But yeah, we were kind of undergunned. I think it was a big thing that we even qualified. Was it not the PSV?
Yeah, PSV, Kolak and Tillman.
Yeah. But yeah, it was more of a we got there, but it was we got there kind of moment. So yeah, let's hopefully we'll see our improvements on the continent again this year.
I think qualifying campaigns we tend to be pretty good at. We tend to get the players tend to get themselves up for it. The fans love it. Summer nights, it's always a good atmosphere at that stage, and the players put in the effort because they're really trying to impress the manager at that stage before they realise what they've been up to sometimes. But I think we should go for it. Like, get the rounds in. If we end up Europa League, we end up Europa League. But the Champions League finance is what we need. We massively need that Champions League finance getting into this league table. And let's face it, the way it's all set up now is a much better position than what it was the last time we were there. Our European campaign last year was much tougher than some of the draws we've seen for some of the teams in the Champions League last year. So I'd fancy us to get a decent run in. I'm not going to say we're going to go into major depth into the competition, but we get a decent run in, get the finances from it, allow the squad and reputation to build up with the players. That's what the big thing for me, the European run is.
Yeah, no, I think that's right, Calvin. It's all about the finances for us. I'd lovely to think that we could, go deep in the Champions League, but I think honestly, we get to the group stages there, or the new league phase. Yeah, we're happy enough to be there, and it's the money that we make. As Steve G in the comments says there, we made 20 million, they made 45 million. So the financial difference is clear to see there, and we need it. We need it. And obviously, I think a new manager coming in, you want them to get started off on good footing as well. It's never ideal if you come in as a new manager, Andrew, and you struggle in those initial games and you lose those initial games. It's not going to look good for anyone.
I mean, we've seen, relatively, I was going to say Kashinya, but he had some games under his belt already before the Niederkorn debacle. But, I think that the progress dumping out, that was kind of like the nail in the coffin, because it was a shaky end of the season when he was brought in, I think. Or just trying to think of the timeline, but from there you're kind of like, this really isn't going anywhere near where we wanted it to go. Then you flip the coin and you get Gerrard with the European run. You think you're taking on your Aleshkerts, your Scoopies, your Aussie Jacks. Obviously teams you expect to beat, but it's minutes in the legs. I think if you look back to last season, when we rolled up to Tynecastle on day one, I thought we were 3 weeks behind schedule in terms of looking ready, looking like a team that's played football together. We looked slightly unfit. I think the manager throws in Cortez and he gets injured. I think there's just wasn't enough minutes on the ground or in the legs. Having these kind of European ties. Obviously, Ibrox are going to have fans that are there during the summer. It's good atmosphere, as we've said. I remember even Aleshkert watching it in the Rangers pub in Blackpool, just because it was that early in the summer on my summer holidays. But it gets you up and running so that when you do open up your league season, we can do it in strong footing. Hopefully, having progressed a couple rounds at that time and looking better on the continental side of our season, so you can then put that in the back burner and kick on in the league as well.
No, for sure. We're in that early stages where it's still up in the air. It's exciting. Just thanks to a little Celtic fan in there who's now been banned from the chat. Cheers, mate. Appreciate you tuning in, helping us grow the channel. I've run through the banner again and thanked all the members again. Again, cannot thank everyone enough. Everyone who's even just subscribing, liking, and sharing the channel has been amazing. We're over 7,000 subscribers to the YouTube now, which is ridiculous. Over 300 members as well who are paying and contributing and helping us grow the channel. Ridiculous. I always want to plug this. As a member of the channel, you get exclusive interviews, you get exclusive videos, and you get the stickers as well. And I mean, come on, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want a little Calvin right there? Or even better, little baby Andrew. Come on, that's beautiful. Beautiful to see. Or you can get Kenny and indeed Cheryl after most of our performances this season. For me, after most performances this season. Sometimes we had a Stevie. Sometimes we had a Stevie. Rarer occasions, but we did.
Very rarely.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot rarer than we wanted, but we did get them, and it was always good to see. Folks, we've been on for half an hour. We don't really have much to talk about beyond, the latest news and rumours that are going around. As we said at the start, we're hoping that we get announcements in the next few days. We don't know anything for sure. Stevie's got us all on standby. We've been told not to go anywhere over the weekend, but we don't know for sure. So stay subscribed. Make sure you're following us on the socials, on all the links in the description below. And we can promise that we will keep you as updated as we can. As soon as we hear anything, you'll hear something. Boys, it has been a pleasure to talk to you tonight. And for me, it's been good to get back in the saddle and back hosting again after a little medical misadventure, which has been a delight to get past. So Calvin,
It's the season
thank
with
you, mate.
Rangers.
I mean,
it's rubbed off on you. The injury crisis really hit you.
Exactly. The voodoo curse spreads around. So, hits us all. Calvin, mate, appreciate you, and thank you for coming on and joining us tonight.
Thanks, glad to be back after some travels. And I'd just like to say, Neil keeps pointing out in the chat, congrats to young Ethan Watson's been selected to play for Rangers at the training ground. So well done, young man. Save the ball with your hands and not with your feet or your face.
Absolutely. Key lessons in developing your footballing skill right there, mate. And Andrew, thank you again, my friend. Always a pleasure to come on with you. And here's hoping we get some news soon, right?
Yeah, cannot wait. God bless America.
That's what it's all about, baby. Folks, nearly 6,000 you watching, 5,700 watching. Sport's ridiculous. Honestly, it's genuinely unbelievable. So every time, can't thank you guys enough. And especially the members of the channel who are subscribing and giving us money just so they can use stickers, just so they can use beautiful stickers like this, just because of that. There's members videos as well, but really, you want the Calvin there. That's what you're here for. I know, and it's okay. It's okay to want that. We cannot thank you enough, folks. We hope you've enjoyed hanging out with us. Stay subscribed, stay following, and as soon as we hear anything, you'll hear something. No more than that. Thanks again for watching, and until we talk to you again, folks, bye for now.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.